Substack.
Looks like it's live.
Yay! Can you see it
I can see you and me.
on Substack?
Oh, I haven't gone over there yet.
Here we go. Okay. We are live. We did it. Hello, everyone. Welcome.
We
Welcome
got here.
to episode 1 of the Unleashed Female Leader. I am so glad you're here. I'm going to give it a minute so that people can pop on, and I'm going to prove to myself on my phone that we are actually live. Say hi if you can see us. There we are. We did it.
Wow.
Yes, that was fun. Okay. I can't wait to introduce my very first guest, Christy Whitman. She is a transformational leader. She is a 2-time New York Times best-selling author. She's an intuitive energy healer and a renowned channel for the council. She has over 25 years of experience guiding personal transformation. And the way she does it is so powerful because she blends energy mastery, intuitive healing, and channeled wisdom to help you clear blocks and manifest a life of alignment and connection. Her teachings empower spiritual seekers, coaches, entrepreneurs, high achievers. She helps them create lives filled with effortless abundance, authentic joy, and meaningful momentum. Welcome, Christy.
Thank you, Patty. I'm so glad that we connected.
I
We got
am
it. We
too.
got here.
I'm so glad it worked. So I can't wait to dive into the flow factor and learn more about you. Why don't you start off by telling us what got you started? How did this all happen?
Discontent. I mean,
Yeah.
it was really around I could go back to college because my sister was 11 years older than me, and she was in this place of discovering herself, which I was curious about, but I also wasn't. That's your thing, right? It was like, oh, good for you. That's your thing. And so she would give me books and give me tapes and give me this kind of stuff, and I was just like, I'm not there yet, but after college, I graduated, I moved to Chicago, I got this great job, I was living in such a great city, I was engaged to be married, and it was everything that I thought was supposed to be on the checklist to make me happy. Go to college, get a degree, make money, and I I was not happy. I was very dissatisfied. And when you have achieved, and this is at a very young age, I was 25 at the time, when you achieve all the things that you think are the things that you need to achieve, be in order to finally be happy, and then you get to that place and it's like, uh-oh.
What happened? Yeah.
It's like, well, dang, what's next? Because I'm some people when they're older realize this, and I was blessed enough that I got this when I was very young, but it was like, well, then what's this all about? And, I really started asking the bigger questions, because if it's not about doing and achieving and all that, what is it about? And so that led me to move to California for the last bad boy I ever dated. But nonetheless, I moved to California. He introduced me to a group of his friends, and we lasted about a month while I was there, but I needed a haircut. So I met one of the girls that was one of his, in his friend group, and I went and got a haircut from Janine. And while Janine is, I met her a couple times, but while she's just in her genius and in her craft and her joy, I'm noticing this light about her that I've never seen in another human being. And it was like infectious. I was just like, what do you, and being as blunt as I am, I'm like, all right, what do you do? And she said, I meditate. Now, this is in the 90s. This is like we had the internet, but this was not the internet that we know now, so there was no secret before then. And I said, what do you mean you meditate? And because for me, in my mind, it was some guru guy sitting on a mountaintop oming. That's who meditated. I didn't know anybody that meditated. So it was like, what? There's this hip chick from San Ramon, California, and she's married, has a dog. She meditates. So she was telling me that she does this deep form of meditation called light body. And I was like, I'm hooked. I want more. I want to know. You know, I was like, I really, really felt like that scene in When Harry Met Sally, when they're in the deli and she's faking an orgasm and the woman goes, I'll have what she's having. That was me. I'm like, I want what she has. I'll have what she's having. Right. So I dialed Melanie's number because I'm like, who teaches you to meditate? So she told me about Melanie. I'm dialing her number, those brick phones, you know, back in the day. They were heavy. Walking out of the salon and I'm calling her. And I had to call her a few times because she was in a place, Melanie, where she was giving up all of her light work because she got fed up and she hit an obstacle. And here I am going, hello, I need him. Like, I need what you got, right? And so she finally like let the door in, and she even said that she almost gave up doing light work until I was like persistent that it's like, I want what she's got, So she agreed to meet me. I went to her house. It was such a bizarre, clinky new age music, candles everywhere, statues of fairies and angels. And she invited me in this room to sit down on a cushion. There's no couch or, it was just this big living room with cushions. And this big fat cat named Steve came over. I mean, it's the biggest cat I've ever seen ever. And he was just coming up to me and, purring on me, and I'm loving on Steve. And all of a sudden I look up at Melanie, and it was like laser beams went into me. I'd never seen or experienced anybody look into my soul the way she did, at least at that point in my life. And she just looked deep in, and she said, you create your own reality. And when she said that, Patty, it was like, there's just this awakening that happened, this knowing that just came out. It was like, finally I'm out, it must be like for a chicken to finally come out of the egg, or a dinosaur to finally come out of the egg. I was like, oh my God, it's true. But then the minute I thought about it, I went, well, how? Because my mind kicked it. How do I create my own reality? So I said that to her, and she said, by your thoughts, you're either repelling things from you or attracting things to you based on the way you think. And that was like the way I think.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're not your thoughts. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Those thoughts that have been telling me I'm not enough, those thoughts have been telling me I'm too short, too fat, those aren't real where those thoughts come from then. And then it was like, what? That awakening just led to, I don't care whatever else I have to do. I have to find the answers, because I need to know, what is this truth? What are thoughts? And if I'm not my thought, who's observing these thoughts? And, the whole process of me, I was hooked. All the
questions. Yeah.
I was just hooked. And so after 5 years of changing my own life, I went from I've been much more since then, but $60,000 in credit card debt. I was about 40 pounds overweight. I was living in a room in a very strange woman's house that I was renting. I didn't have any friends, any support around. I mean, the thing I was doing, I was a wine representative. It was like, ugh. It was like there was no meaning, no purpose. And I had a realization 5 years later. I was with a long-term partner. We had a house together. We were married. I was completely out of debt, had money in the bank, had a high-paying job as a pharmaceutical rep. I had great success everywhere. I became a stepmom in the process. My life I was a size 4, lost all the weight, best shape of my life. Everything was just the polar opposite of what I experienced before I started learning about energy, meditation, universal laws, and shifting my consciousness from lack to abundance. And that's it was around that time, my first book literally downloaded through me. And it was one of those things that I knew it was a book. I knew that it had to get out there, and just everything flowed. I got the book published, and then it was like, all right, buy my book, friends and family, who none of them had the awakening that you are not your thoughts. Right? So they're very much in the third dimension, and I'm going, hello, who will hear my message? Because it's none of you. They were like, what? She's lost her mind talking about energy.
Yeah.
all this stuff. So I started speaking in spiritual bookstores and churches so I could
Oh,
find
you
my
did.
people. And when I did, it
Yes.
was like they wanted me to coach them. They were hungry as I were. They're
Uh-huh.
like, "Can I call you? Are you a
Mm.
coach?" And I'm like, "A coach?" Like I thought like a football coach, a
I
cheerleading
like
coach.
I don't
Because
play sports.
I used to be a cheerleading coach for
Okay.
seventh
Okay,
and
there we
eighth
go.
graders, So I was like a cheerleading coach? No, like a life coach. Life coach? That people do that? Yeah, there's the
Yeah.
what? And we're talking 25 years ago, where
Yeah.
if there was life coaches, they weren't getting paid. They were living in a van down by the river, right? So it wasn't like
Hmm.
anybody could show me how to be successful as a life coach.
Hmm.
There were a couple
Yes.
mentors and people that were in speaking and, different people
Hmm.
that were a coach and figuring it out and,
Yeah.
that kind of thing at the time. But yeah, it's been just an amazing journey because every
Yeah.
part of it has just been a lean in because it's like, okay,
Yes. Keep saying yes. Yeah.
here's the book and now speak on it and now they're coach and then people would call me on the phone. I'd be like, I'm not a coach, but call me on the phone. I'll walk you through the process or how to shift this or that or and then they would call me back or email me back and be like, oh my god, I met him, I got the job, I got a promotion. And Patty, it was like being involved in someone's success and transformation. There's
Hmm. No.
no other feeling in the world.
Yes. It's
And
so good. So
I
for
was hooked.
people, yes, for people who are listening and thinking, okay, but how did you start thinking differently? Like, how did you might have said yes and experienced it, but how did you actually, were there beliefs you had to let go of?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
how did you do that? Like, give
Well,
them some,
I want to give you something even better than starting with your thoughts because we have
okay.
thousands of thoughts a day and it's hard to be like, tracking which thought is positive and negative. I say start with your words. And I'm actually going to gift every single person that is listening here and all of your wonderful people on Substack. You can go to watchyourwords.com.
Mhm.
It's a 30-day free program where I tell you in each video that's 2 to 3 minutes in length what not to say,
Mm.
why, and what to say instead. Because our words, there's so many different people that throughout history have said, Florence Schiavone has said that your word is your wand, right?
Mhm.
Bruce Lee said that, we call it spelling when we speak and when,
Yeah.
because we are creating spells,
Casting
right?
spells, yes.
Casting spells, yeah. So it's true. I mean, and even in the Bible, it says, in the beginning, there was the word. And
Yes.
so our words are creative. Our words are an indication, based on what you just asked me, Patty,
Mm-hmm.
of what our beliefs are.
Mm-hmm.
Our words that we say tell us are a window into where our consciousness is.
Yes.
And what is our consciousness? Our consciousness is the words that we say. It's
Mm-hmm.
the thoughts that we think.
Mm-hmm.
It's the pictures, the images that we hold in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's the emotions that we feel or don't feel. It's both,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
the actions that we take, the behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we can control. Our mother-in-law's opinion, we cannot.
Mm-mm.
Our kids driving too fast, we cannot. Our clients paying on time, we cannot. Like, we cannot control the president or anything outside of us, but we can choose our thoughts, our words, our images and pictures,
Mm-hmm.
right? That all
Yes.
leads to what we believe, what we expect, which then we get evidence of it and go, see, it's
Mm-hmm.
true, which then solidifies a belief
Yes.
even more. But
Yes.
as a little kid, while we're developing, and we're learning about love and being enough and can I succeed and can I do it
Mm-hmm.
or can I afford or shouldn't I or could I try or not or some of the words that pull us down into a lower level vibration.
Mm-hmm.
We learn those. We learn we can't afford it. We learn that from our mom. What do you think?
Yes.
Money grows on trees? Like
Yes.
we learn these type of things and phrases and
Mm-hmm.
then we pick them up and don't even challenge them or recognize them a lot of times that when I say this, I don't feel good. And so
Yes.
focusing on the word, just even the word can't, when you hear that word, whether you're aware of it or not, your whole entire body goes into constriction mode. It goes into survival mode instead of
Mm-hmm.
opening up to the flow and opening up to possibilities and potential, right? So that's where I say start. And that's why, start with that program, because as you're hearing
Yeah.
each of these different words, and then you're becoming aware, most people, when they hear the words, are like, oh my God, I say that all the time.
Yes.
People say, and it comes from a good place, but they say, oh my gosh, I can't wait, right? That's one of the words. I can't wait. Now think about it. When you got can't and wait, does anybody like to wait? Nobody likes to wait. I don't know I've ever met any single person in the universe that has ever said, you know what I'd love to do? I'd love to just wait. I love to wait in line. I love to wait for my manifestations. I love to wait for Mr. Right. No one has ever in the history said, I just love waiting, right? And then you got can't on there, can't wait. Instead, say, I'm looking forward to.
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
looking
that's
forward to
so
this
important.
conversation. I'm looking forward to that concert. I'm looking forward to that date. I'm looking forward to this success. Very, very different, because when you're coming
Yes.
from can't, you're in lack. Lack never feels good. It always feels bad.
Hmm.
Abundance always feels good.
So important. I dropped that link in the comments,
Thank
and
you.
just that one piece holds so much power. Move away from goals only create more of what we're moving away from. So it anchors in waiting.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, it does. And there's other words too, like should. The
Yes.
impact of should and try, and just some
Yes.
of these words, and have to, and you know and they're
Yes.
important to. And what's great about these videos is I did it interactive. So I'm like, okay, Patty, say this, right? And then you
Okay.
say it, right? And then it's like, okay,
Yes.
notice how you're feeling. It's like having a
Yes.
coaching session. It's like, okay, now say this instead. Notice
Yes.
how you feel now, right?
Hmm.
So it's like we're interactive, we're having a conversation, but I'm teaching, and
Hmm.
at the same time, but you're feeling, so that it's not just me telling you what you should do. It's like, say this word, see how you feel. Say this word, see how you feel.
Exactly.
Now you choose, because ultimately
Hmm.
it's about us choosing.
Hmm.
We've been given free will and choice.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of people that don't feel they have choices. There's a lot of
Yes.
people that feel stuck, right?
Hmm.
And most people are in their survival brain. They're coming
Hmm.
from the back of the head and neck. There's all this energy
Hmm.
going on here. And if there's all this energy going on here, like, how am I going to survive? How am I going to pay the bills? What am I going to do? Sky's falling, chicken little, like, all of that activity is going on here. It
Hmm.
gives no activity for the prefrontal cortex, which is creativity, which is where you're envisioning what you
Hmm.
do want, which is where the pleasure centers activate and hold,
Hmm.
just like the possibilities, where you're in creator mode instead of survival mode.
Hmm.
And when your
Hmm.
nervous system is in constriction, right? When
Hmm.
you're in fight,
Hmm.
flight, freeze, even fawn, as I talk about in the flow factor,
Mm.
all of these conditions are based in lack. They're based in the drama triangle. They're based on the fact that the person that is living in this body is scared to death to be here, scared to death of what's coming, scared to death that what's going to happen again, or what happened before is going to happen again, or
Hmm.
worried. I'm worried I don't
Hmm.
have enough. I'm worried people will abandon me. I'm worried people that,
Hmm.
all of that fear, worry, doubt,
Yes.
it's all lodged in the back of the brain, in the back, and there's a release valve. Not really, so don't actually look out for a valve. People have actually said that to me. It's like a chakra, right?
Yeah.
And it's right where the head and the neck come together. So it's like the tip of the spine, right in that area. There's a soft pot
Hmm.
spot back there.
Hmm.
That's a big release valve. So if you imagine that energy is starting to release out the back of your head and neck, this
Hmm.
actually starts to calm down the nervous system.
Hmm.
And God, Patty, we're living in a time where, I know you and I have had this conversation where there's so many different modalities now, and
Yeah.
there's so many different people helping people to calm their nervous system,
Hmm.
relax their nervous system,
Hmm.
different healers that do different modalities. I mean, my mom had never had options like that, nor would she
Oh
ever
no.
take them if she knew them.
Exactly.
So,
Hmm.
it's like it's up to us individually to take control, to be the
Hmm.
one that is in choicefulness, and feel
Yes.
that empowerment to choose what we want rather than what we don't, to know that
Hmm.
we do have that choicefulness, that if we do feel stuck and if we do feel that we are not going anywhere, or that we have to constantly fight or resist, or that we're always like escaping because we have to get
Hmm.
out of our bodies, that's just an invitation for you to be able to calm your nervous system. I mean, again,
Hmm.
there's so many different ways. Tapping is great, breath work
Hmm.
is great. Of course, there's meditation, right? There's working out is always a really great way to release stress. I mean, there's so many different things that we can do. And then on top of it, there's so many different systems, modalities, things that are available for
Hmm.
people to heal themselves. Because
Yes.
because it's not just about regulating your
We hear a lot about that.
yeah, we hear a lot about that, right? Yes, you got to regulate it, but you got to heal it,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times it's so irregulated that in
Hmm.
order to regulate it, you got to let go of what's, sometimes you got to let go of some of the stimulation that keeps you in
Mm.
that place.
Tell us more about that. How do you heal your nervous system as compared
Well,
to regulating?
you recognize what's the imprint that's
Hmm.
creating the constriction. Because if you just
Mm.
regulate it and do all this work, you
Hmm.
haven't let go of the cause.
Yes.
So if there's a cause in there, like we were saying earlier, if there's a cause of an earlier part that made a decision and created a belief that I'm not safe,
Yes.
right? I love daddy so much. And then he starts screaming and yelling, and you're like, oh my God, right? It's like, I'm not
Hmm.
safe. What do I do? It's like it's an animalistic survival instinct. Doesn't
Hmm.
matter if it's a turtle, a coyote,
Hmm.
a bunny rabbit, or a dog. Every
Hmm.
single nervous system will constrict when there's a threat.
Hmm.
Right. And so in
Yes.
those moments of constriction, it's like, oh my God, I'm scared,
Hmm.
right? And then that daddy is scary could then lean into like the next guy, the first boyfriend you attract maybe yells at you, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm not safe. Men are scary.
Hmm.
Men are abusive. And it starts this. I think
Yes.
it, I see it, I believe it, it solidifies it for me. But
Hmm.
those can be unwired so that
Yes.
you're not always like, I can't trust women, right? Or men are all snakes, or some of these, I can't seem to get ahead financially. I'm really bad with money. I'm really bad with weight.
Yes.
I'm really bad with time. I'm really bad.
Yes.
Anytime you say I am anything,
You're claiming it.
please watch what you say after that am, because the I, right? I mean, that I am is a statement, it's a declaration, it's a choice. And so
Yes.
you want to be saying, I am successful. I am abundant.
Yes.
I am whole, healthy, complete. I am
Yes.
loved. I am supported. Because you may notice you're not supported, right? And you might be triggered by that. Well, that's
Yes.
the opportunity then to be able to
Yes.
go to the imprint, heal those places where you don't feel supported,
Hmm.
rewire it by changing the vibration, by bringing in compassion. There's a
Hmm.
three-part process that I share on this. When you're in some kind of contrast, I mean, the flow factor is this whole conversation expanded, but when you are in contrast, and every single human being ever will
Hmm.
experience contrast, and not just once. When you think about, your life can be perfect, but your dog dies, right?
Yeah.
That's contrast. You have to go
Yeah.
through a grieving process, right?
Hmm.
Things are going great, and then all of a sudden your friend passes, or your parent, or there
Yes.
is contrast that happens, right? And
Hmm.
those contrast moments can disempower us by making us feel smaller than, where we feel
Hmm.
like we're powerless to them, that the money is bigger than I, time is bigger than me, that
Hmm.
that idea is of doing that, I can't do it, it's bigger than me, right? So why even try? It's like, it's that thing is bigger than your own self-identification. But when you start to
Hmm.
identify yourself as bigger, equal to, or even greater than that issue, that temporary problem, right, then you
Hmm.
can have a different perspective to change it.
I think you said something really important that I want to emphasize, and that is self-identification. Once you switch the way you speak about yourself and to yourself, the things that you previously couldn't see are right there. you can't see it because you're not really looking for it. So
Yeah.
what are you identifying with? I think that's an important question for everyone to ask themselves.
Yeah, and even when you're in say a mood, I'm going to give you an example, a really cool,
Yeah.
fun story example of that. Even when you're in a mood, and say you're just down on yourself for whatever reason. When I was starting out, going full time in my coaching, speaking, healing career, I did a bunch of learning annexes. If you remember Patty, the learning annex,
I
there was in
do.
New York and San Diego, LA, San Francisco. And so I was doing a California tour, and I was in San Diego, and I was going. No, I was in LA. I was on my LA tour. I was going to San Francisco, and I was in LAX because I had just done an LA learning annex presentation, and there was one woman in the room that was just cross-armed, had the chip on her shoulder. She had it in for me the minute I could see it. She was locked and loaded, right? And I was just like, what's her deal? Everybody was happy to be there, but she had this
Yeah.
like, attitude. And so partly through the class, she just kind of, says something just to knock me off. And I looked at her and I go, you know what? You don't have to be here. Like, you could get a refund, and the learning acts would be happy to do that. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, or you're pissed off about it, maybe you want to leave because everybody else is having a really good time. No,
Yeah.
I paid to be here. And so it became even more of like a fight, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I remained cool. Like, I just would go to everybody. I did a really good job, right?
Mhm.
But the next day I'm at the airport, and I'm kind of like down and sulking because I'm thinking, God, what else could I have done? And I'm in that
Yeah.
mopey place, right? And I happened to look up, and I saw Honolulu, or Maui is what I saw, Maui, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And I looked down, and I was like, okay, get over yourself. Like, just you had 20 other people in the room. They all were like going off and really appreciating you. Are you going to let one person, right? So as I'm sulking, all of a sudden, in that exact moment, I kind of sit myself up, and I'm like, Wayne Dyer walks right in front of me. And he goes over and he kind of sits over by, Maui. And I was
Now, yeah.
like, and so I got up and I went over, and I got the pleasure of meeting him many times, but this was my first interaction with him. And it's just he and I, and he's the most, they say you shouldn't meet your heroes, but I'm so glad I did, because he was the most generous, kindest, loving man. He's like, oh, law of attraction. You're doing what? Law of attraction. You could probably teach me a lot about law of attraction.
Oh,
I mean, just, you've written
yeah.
law of, the book Intention, Power of Intention. I mean, he's just a gracious man. And then this other woman came over, and he's like, well, you must know Christy Whitman. And she's looking at me like, sorry, I don't. I'm like, there's no way you would know me. Like, it's like, but he was just so inclusive and so wonderful, right? And
Yes.
I just felt so energized that when I went up to San Francisco, I was on a whole level number of like
Mm.
fire in my presentation, right? It was just so energized. My point of this story is that if I would have stayed in that sulking, dang, what could I have done better? God,
Yes.
really, beating myself up, I would have been there. Wayne would have walked by, and I would have fully missed him.
Yep.
So we miss the things
Yes.
that we don't let our head up to see.
Yes. Yes. And isn't it interesting how we sometimes, maybe not struggle, but like play with energy that is a lower vibration? I'm seeing you in the airport mirroring what she was doing, like, right? And we agree to that somehow, or we get ourselves up out of it, like you described. I sat up. Come
Yeah.
on, Christy,
Let's
right?
go.
Gave
Yeah.
yourself a little pep talk, and right in front of you
A
was an
gift.
opportunity.
Yep.
It's daily. It happens daily.
All the time, because it's
Mhm.
all right in front of us. It's just, are we there to receive it, to see it, to accept it, it's even Wayne Dyer, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change.
Change.
You
Yes.
know?
Hmm. Yes.
It's so true. Change the words that you use, and your manifestations change.
Your reality
Your
changes.
everything, because the
Hmm.
words. Think about this. What are words? Well, think about this. What are thoughts? They're a series of words,
Hmm.
right? And
Yes.
thoughts thought over and over and over again become something that we attract. There's a visual experience of it. We think it into being, and then that's when we go, oh, it's true. It's
Yeah,
some
we
level
look
of
for
our
the
being.
evidence.
We do. We go,
Yes,
see, it's true. And then that's the belief.
it's
And then
so
of
true.
yeah, and then we create the emotions and the emotional imprints around it, right?
I
And
see that a lot with technology. I'm just not good with technology. I'll hear people say, like, why are you claiming that technology can support you in ways that you can't even comprehend until you get into partnership with it? I'm learning technology. I'm
that's it.
getting better at technology.
That's it. I say that all the time. I am the least non-techie person you will meet, but I have had an online business for 25 years. So, if I could do it, you could do it too. So, I mean,
Yes.
you don't have to know exactly how the internet works and all the pieces and components, but there's stuff you can learn and or hire.
Hire someone, find the support you need, not fighting with it, not mirroring the experience.
Exactly.
It's important.
It is. Your
So,
words, your thoughts are important. They create your reality.
so I'm curious on this journey from where you were to everything you've learned, what would you say the biggest risk was that you took?
Oh my gosh. There's been so many, but the biggest one is when I started channeling the council, first person, direct.
Mhm.
I was known as this coach, Christy, that, certifies and trains coaches through the Quantum Success Coaching Academy, which I still have. It's online instead of live now. But in 2018, when they came through, I just birthed it was my fifth book, Quantum Success. And a week later, they came through and I started it was like a secret thing I did with private clients, right? And it was more of like the people that I knew that would be open to it. And I had a group
Mm.
in Sacred Circle of Light. And so I was kind of getting my feet wet there and, doing more and more. And then come January 1st, I always do a New Year's Eve meditation for my community. And I've done that for 25 years. Where you pick a word, and now most people do that now, but it's like 25 years ago, right? It's like claiming an essence and a feeling and bringing that feeling in and then
Mm.
spreading that energy to your whole year. It's so powerful.
Yes.
And it gets more and more powerful. Well, this one year when it's used to be me doing the New Year's Eve meditation, the council says, I want to do the meditation. It's like, ta-da, I'm coming out. And I
Here
was,
we are.
oh my God,
Introducing.
right? So I did that and I had some pretty big backlash because there are people, one woman in particular, she's like, I've been following for you for years and I just told my whole entire office to come listen to this New Year's Eve meditation. What in the hell was that? Because I
Mm.
had a different accent, especially at that time when I
Mm.
was getting acquainted to the vibration and you
Yes.
know, it was more, some people would say it sounds Indian. Some people would say I sound British. My uncle would call me Mary Poppins because he said I sounded British. Some people would say I sounded Australian. Now they're when they come in, it's sounds more like me with less of an accent, but you
Mm-hmm.
could still sense the differentiation. So when they came first out, it was very heavy accent. It was like, what is happening? So
Mm.
so after that, and having people in my community go running, and others leaning in, others like,
Yes.
this is so cool, right? The others
Yes.
are like, see ya. I had to just lean into those that leaned into me,
Yes.
that was the biggest. That was a big
Hmm.
risk.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you trusted yourself. You trusted what you were receiving.
I trusted the feeling that it was so right, just like I trusted the
Mm.
feeling that what I was channeling 25 plus years ago in that very first book needed to be given out
Mm.
and needed to become a book. And so I knew that in service that I needed to do my due diligence to edit the book, to get it published, to speak on it, to coach on
Mhm.
it, because it's a way that light is coming through me, a container, right?
Mhm.
Light comes through you in a different way. It comes through the same way, but the expression of it is different because
Yes.
each person has a different expression of it. And even
Yes.
what we create from that unique expression. Just even think about how we serve in the world, right? We might have clients that are similar, right? That do similar things, but we do so the gift is always different, but the light is the same. It just comes through the form and then expresses out and creates in a different way. And so it just felt like that was the natural. I could not do it because it felt too good to do it.
Yes,
You
yes.
know?
And I love that you trust that, because I hear people say, well, I really want to do this thing, but I don't think I can actually do that. I have to do something else. And holding back because of these beliefs they have. If someone was just starting to do something new, maybe they're not sure if they should or if they, are safe. Many times it's a safety question doing it. What advice might you give them?
Well, here's the thing. Dropping into your heart and connecting with your soul, that's this place I would start. Because when you're connected to your soul's light, and it's as simple as just imagining that you're in a huge cocoon of light, and that you're this bubble of light, this cocoon of light is like a sphere in Las Vegas, right? It's like it goes above you, it goes below you, in front, all around, and you can expand it, you can contract it, but it's always there with you. And of course, there's even more support. A council talks about the stadium of light and our, infinite self, the God self, the divine self. There's continuous support. When we're in our own consciousness and we're in our own thought form and our thought is focused on something negative, all of that awareness of that support completely goes away. And we feel left alone and isolated and we're never going to figure this out and I'm stuck. And part of it is that someone that's like, ooh, I'd say read The Desire Factor, because that's really what that book is all about. Is you get an idea, you get a desire, and inside of you, you feel like, oh my God, I'd love to do that. So there's already an expansion in receiving what that idea is. And you could feel that, right? And you know what I'm seeing, because I could see you, because it's like when you receive an idea and you like lean into it, it's like, oh my gosh, you just go with it because it's like not doing it feels painful.
Yes.
But when you're not there yet, because you haven't had the practice that Patty and I have had for many years in doing that, when you feel like you've got this download or there's something calling you or, pulling you towards something, and you just know that there's a part of you that wants to go, but there's this part of you that is so terrified. That's the part that needs to be released, given compassion. That's the part that needs to be healed, because the natural part of us is of increase, it's of expansion, it's a creator, it wants to move forward. That's what our natural divine design is. Yes. So if we're like in worry, fear, and doubt, that's learned. That's not the truth of who you are.
That's important. Say that again.
That's learned. You learned that. You decided that. You picked that up. You had an experience of it. It's not the reality.
Yes.
Right? When you were like, Daddy, pay attention to me, just as a simple thing, just as a very simple thing. You might have had a great childhood, or maybe not. But you were like, Daddy, trying to get Dad's it. And he's like, he just gives you the, I gotta go to the bathroom, or, just something to just be dismissive. It's like,
yes.
I'm not loved. I'm not important. That can go deep. And depending how deep you decided that, like, Dad doesn't love me, right? That imprints. But the good news is that you can find that little one and wrap her in your soul's light, because having the awareness that you have a soul that's higher, bigger, deeper than you, right? You can take that younger part of you. So I was almost like grab her and put her on my lap, because she's inside of me, right? And that way I get that compassion from my soul light, that for me as the adult that's feeling it and aware of it, but to that younger one that's experiencing it. And that's just staying in that, like, vibe. It's like those emojis, right? It's like they stays in that space. Like when the emojis on your phone are about to delete, they're all like, like that. That's why I feel like the little ones in us are like, come get me, save me. They're stuck in that old think about a 6-year-old making life decisions and then sticking to those beliefs your whole life. That the
Yes.
6-year-old's been running the show on that certain topic, situation, or
Mm-hmm.
decision.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a
Absolutely.
matter of taking the adult you, grabbing her up and go, I'm running the show now. I've got you. You're safe.
Yes, you're
you're
safe.
you're safe.
Mm.
And even in that, so if I was going to give the process, which we're kind of going into, but that soul bubble and having that awareness and having the fact that you can reach her and connect with her, that inner child that you have, all time is simultaneous, past, present, and future all exists right now. So that inner child that is stuck in the past is still here with you now, and that
Mm-hmm.
energy is here now. So
Mm-hmm.
by wrapping yourself in that soul awareness, that light awareness, and then second, doing something somatic, like a hug, giving yourself a hug for like 90 seconds, or even just
Mm-hmm.
putting your hand on your heart, just rubbing your shoulder, you touching you in a way that's calming, because this is very calming to the body. Just even,
Mm-hmm.
just to rub your hands together. It's very, very calming to the body, and it's very soothing to the nervous system. So now you have the invitation of light, you've got you calming you down, somatic,
Yep.
and then that's when you bring in the affirmations. That's when you say, this is temporary.
Mm.
This is going to work out. I've overcome better.
Yes.
Whatever you need to tell yourself in that moment. Have some
Mm-hmm.
things written down. Write things when you're in a good space and
Mm-hmm.
that make you feel calm. Write those things down, that when you're in that space of needing to go back into neutrality, that you're in that, okay, all is well. Things always do work out for me. I'm just going to look out
Mm-hmm.
for the solution, right? Whatever
Yes.
those things are, because you want to be able to give also the new consciousness, the new thoughts, the new words, the new energy.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're going to seep back to the old, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
want to create a new state. And there's
Mm-hmm.
more depth and healing and all that too, little ones inside. But
Yeah.
for a general soothing process to the parts that are in, full just survival mode,
Mm-hmm.
that'll at least start the healing process and
That's
help you
great.
regulate it.
Yes, that's great. Great
Because
for people.
yeah, it's important because listen, nobody taught us about emotional intelligence, and
No.
there's 4 parts to it, but 2 really important for ourselves is that number 1, I'm aware of this emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like, I feel irritated today. Most people are like, well, what's my problem? What's wrong with me today? And then they judge themselves for having an emotion instead of just like, I'm feeling a little bit, I don't understand why, but I'm feeling stressed. Okay, I'm identifying that I'm feeling stressed. I'm
Mm-hmm.
identifying that I'm feeling afraid. I'm
Mm-hmm.
identifying that I'm sitting here and worrying. Identify that. Now, the second part is I regulate it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm feeling stressed. Judging myself for feeling stressed and what's wrong with you and you shouldn't feel and all that kind of stuff, that's going to make matters worse,
Yeah.
right? It's going to be the spiral down. But saying, God, I'm feeling stressed. I'm going to take 15 minutes. I'm going to go meditate. I'm going to do some breath work. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to, whatever I need to do to
Mm-hmm.
regulate this so that I am no longer feeling worried, afraid, stressed, whatever it is. So I'm coming into a calming place, like by inviting in my soul, giving myself that somatic hug, telling myself this too shall pass, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Important work.
It is.
And we just need it in our toolbox. People don't have, like you said, we're not taught, and people don't have the tools. So it just compounds because there's no solution,
But there is.
but there is.
That's the cool thing, is that we have
Yeah.
so many different tools and teachers and healers and channelers, and there's help. I mean, more
There
and more
is.
people are open to therapy.
Yes.
So and more and more people are talking about it. It's like our
Mm-hmm.
mental health and our mental awareness is so
Yes.
important, and yet it's only one part. We have 4
Yes.
bodies. We got a
Mm.
lot of work here in a third dimensional body, right? There's a lot of things we have, teeth and eyes and all the stuff we have to take care of, and it's the physical body is one of those bodies. The mental
Mm-hmm.
body is so important because our mind, our thoughts create a reality.
Mm-hmm.
Our thoughts, when we focus on something, it starts momentum of energy. So our thoughts, our mind what the pictures we hold, pretty important.
Very important.
Right? So that's the mental body. Then you have your emotional body,
Hmm.
right? If you're not regulated there and you're, every little thing is like you with a sunburn, and someone has a sunburn, they're like,
Yes.
that's what it feels like when you're fully in your pain body. It's like
Yes.
every little thing can set you off until you learn how to
Hmm.
heal and then regulate your nervous system.
Hmm. Beautiful. So you made this you allowed this new direction to come through in 2018. Tell us what you're working on right now. What's happening with you?
Substack.
Yes.
Patty's helping me with Substack, so it was just a fun little inner joke. But yeah, no, Substack. I mean, really working on. It's always work to align. I like to say work, but it's play. It's
Yes.
it's always going to be that understanding who and what my source is,
Hmm.
because that's what I want to stay connected to. Because the more I stay connected to my source, the more I have sourced, right? It makes
Yes.
sense, right?
Yes.
The more I stay connected to the one that provides, the more I'm provided for. So
Yes.
that's what I'm always working on to
Yes.
improve, to deepen, that
Yes.
interconnection. I'm working on what we've got a new light business mentoring coming up in August. And I've got a France retreat coming up in June of next year. So I've always got fun, retreats,
Yes.
healing events, virtual goddess weekend coming up in August. So there's always fun stuff that we're creating.
So on Substack, how do people find out about these
So on
amazing things?
Substack, you can go to Quantum Success with Christy and the Council. Natalie Ludwell, who I know you know, and love Natalie. I was on her Substack earlier. She says it sounds like my publication sounds like a band. Quantum Success with Christy and the Council. It's like Josie and the Pussycats. I love it. But yeah, you can go to ChristyWhitman.com. That's my main website. Of course,
Yeah.
there's WatchYourWords.com. I recommend going through
Yeah.
that free program. But yeah, so Substack, as we're building it, you'll be able to, that'll be my hub for where you can find all sorts of different offerings and things like that.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you for sharing
Thank
your
you.
beautiful soul with us today and
Thank you.
all of the adventures that you took us on in your own stories and learning. I really appreciate you
Thank you.
being here and kicking off the Unleashed Leaders, Female Leaders show.
Yay.
So
I'm
excited.
honored to be the first.
Thank you. All right. Well, we'll see you next week. Next week, we have Eva Gregory, who will be the guest. So, same time, same place. We'll probably be a little earlier because there will be no problems with getting started. And I look forward to seeing you then. Bye, everyone.